All right, people. Hopefully you are enjoying your break, but it's almost time for us to get back at it. So I wanted to go ahead and post these videos because we're going to be starting chapter 6 when we get back. We have talked a little bit about our coordinate plane where we dealt with our X and Y. We're going to take that information and start to create tables and be able to graph those tables with those X's and Y's that we find out. So we're going to talk about independent and dependent quantities, also the input and output, the X and the Y. So I want to kind of put them out there from the beginning so we understand what we're talking about. So your input can also be called your X. It's also going to be referred to as your independent quantity. Now, your output is also called your Y and your dependent quantity. Okay, so those things are going to be interchangeable. If I say input, I'm talking about X. I'm talking about the independent quantity. If I say output, I'm talking about the Y. I'm talking about the dependent quantity. We're going to get into those parts once we're in class together, but let's talk about these tables right now. So basically what's happening is we have our inputs, and then we have an expression to try to figure out what is our output. So if you look at this example right here, it gives us the input. This is what the rule is. It's X minus 3, and then I'm going to get some answer. Well, if X is 9, 9 take away 3 is 6. If X is 8, 8 take away 3 is 5. If X is 6, 6 take away 3 is 6. Remember, this is my independent quantity. My input, my X. My output, that's my dependent. And also my Y, because we're going to need that X and Y when we start graphing. So this one has a rule. This one right here, sometimes they'll give us the output, they'll give us the rule, and we have to figure out what is the input. So for me to get a 0, this is multiplication. I have to multiply 4 times something that's going to give me a 0. What times 4 equals 0? Right, 0, which means my X was 0. Remember, this is my rule. So 4 times something is going to give me 4. What times 4 equals 4? Yes, 1. So my X is 1. So sometimes I have to work backwards. Here's my rule. 4 times something is going to give me 8. Yes, you're right. Don't yell at me. 2. Okay, so my X was 2. Now, what we can do is, now we can graph these if we want to, but that's going to be in the next video. We know what our ordered pair are, though, because remember, this is my Y, and I'm jumping ahead of myself just a little bit. But if I wanted to look at those, my ordered pair is 0, 0, because my X is 0, and so is my Y. This one is 1 and 4, because my X is 1, my Y is 4. Because remember, output, Y, and dependent are all the same thing. Here, my X is 2. My Y is 8. The ugly 8. I apologize. All right. Let's take a look at these 4. I'm going to go through these with you, and then, of course, I'm going to give you a couple to practice on your own. So, here's my input. This is my X. Now, if my X is 0, I have a rule that I'm multiplying by 2. So what that would look like, I'm going to turn a little bit so I can be comfortable. 2 times whatever my X is. 2 times 0 is 0. Why is my 0 like that? My rule is multiply by 2. This time my X is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. This time my X is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Not too bad, right? All right, let's take a look at this one. My rule is 4 plus x. So 4 plus, my x is 0. 4 plus 0 is 4. 4 plus, remember my rule, 1 is what my x is now. So 4 plus 1 is 5. My rule is 4 plus x, but now my x is 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay, so now these last ones are like super easy. So we know that this is what the rule is, so I just wanted to know what was the input. So if my rule is plus 2, I know this is what's the same every single time. What was changing was my x. So my x was 1, it was 2, and it was 5. Easy, right? This time my rule was divide by 2. See how that's the same? So that meant my x is what was changing. So it was 2, it was 6, and it was 10. Not too bad, right? Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to try on this next page, and I'm in chapter 6, lesson 1. I want you to try the first 10 on this page. Let's see, I'll make them a little bit bigger for you. Try the first 10, okay? Same thing that we just did. If you need to rewind the video, take a look at what we did, that's fine. You try these 10. So go ahead and stop the video, give those a try, and then start the video back, and I'll show you what the answers are. Stop the video. All right. So here's what you should have had for your answers. So go ahead and just take a look real quick. Here we had our rule. It gave us our x's, so we was able to figure out what was the y. This was an additive relationship. So what we're going to move into is that y is equal to your rule. My rule is x plus 3. So over here, here's my y. That's equal to my rule. My rule is 3 times whatever x is. But look, x was 0, 1, and 2. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. Easy peasy, right? Remember, my input is x. My output is y. What's my rule? X minus 1. Okay. This one was division, but same difference. We know how to do this. My output is y. My rule, x divided by 3. So we're covering like 3 different lessons right now, but we got this. So 5 and 6, it gave you the rule. So what happens, what is the output when the input is 3? 2 times 3 is 6. Same thing, what is the output when the input is 2? 4 minus 2 is 2. Pretty good, huh? All right, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It gave us the output. We had the output in the rule. So for us to do x minus 3 equals 7, well, we had to figure out what minus 3 will give me 7. 10. Same thing over here. I have x plus 9 is 12. Well, what was x had to be? Here and here. Okay? Pretty good? Remember, my output is y, and there's my rule. My output is y, and here's my rule. We're going to talk about that rule as soon as we get back. My output is y, and there is my rule. Okay? Now, again, this is Chapter 6, Lesson 1. So you can go ahead and log into your book. There's still a couple other pages. We did reteach. This is skills practice. There were still 2 more in here that you can try if you want. There's the extra practice. There's like 3 other sheets that you can go ahead, log in your book, and give this a try, okay? All right, good luck. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. I'll see y'all when you get back.